Yes.
I'm sorry. Of course, tonight. Sorry.
All good.
You don't think so?
All right, I believe we are live and we are here with, I believe, a majority of our members. So why don't we go ahead and get started with tonight's meeting? Welcome everyone to the Wednesday, September 22nd meeting of the SFDCCC. My name is Honey Mahogany and I am chair of the San Francisco Democratic Party, and I am calling this meeting to order. I will now call on our recording secretary to call the roll.
Great, thank you, Chair Mahogany. I'll just go through the roll. Member Avlos.
Here.
Member Baraka. Member Barry.
Present.
Member Campos. Member Chen.
Here.
Member Dufty. Member
Here by
Galata.
proxy. Oh, sorry. I'm proxying for Member Dufty and Member Galata is here.
Great. And then Member Haney.
Here by proxy.
Member Banez.
Here.
Member Kim. Member Lacroix. Member Lee here. Member Lovett.
Here.
Member Loftus. Member
Excused.
Okay, thank you. Member Mandelman. Member, sorry, I'm going out of order. Member Mahogany, Chair Mahogany.
Here.
Member Marr.
Here by proxy.
Thank you. Member Maliga. Member Morales. Member Raju.
Zaki
Member-
Shaheen here as proxy.
Thank you. Member Ronan. Member Thomas. Member Tung.
Here, Member Thomas is here.
Got it. Member Tung.
Here.
Member Williams.
Sorry.
Member Feinstein.
Here by proxy.
Thank you. Member Pelosi.
Here by proxy.
Member Spear.
Here by proxy.
Member Kounalakis. Member Ma. Member Cohen.
Here by proxy.
Got it. Member Cohen.
Proxy.
Thank you. Member Weiner. Member Chu.
Here by proxy.
Member Ting.
Proxy.
And then just to double check, Member Baraka. Member Campos. Member Kim. Member Lacroix. Member Mandelman. Member Maliga. Member Morales.
Here by proxy by Member Ibanez.
Got it. And then Member Williams.
Here.
Got it. Thank you. We have 22 people present, handful of excused and absent, but we do have quorum.
All right, thank you, Reporting Secretary Lee. We'll just go ahead and move on with item number 2 of our agenda, which is approval of the meeting agenda. I would like to, if we can, make 2 amendments to the agenda as is. The first is to table item number 7, which is a resolution in support of the Fairness for Injured Patients Act. I know that many DCCC members last month had expressed support at the meeting at the last meeting after the presentation that was given to us for supporting this measure. And I also said at that time that I would be introducing a resolution to that effect. However, we have heard from many community groups, organizations, and groups that were impacted by this or may be impacted by this, and they wanted the opportunity to first speak to the body before we voted on this resolution. And so I have agreed to table this item until that time, and hope to include them on the agenda for our next meeting. So I'm hoping that we can make that without objection. And then the second amendment I would also like to make is adding item number 9 on the 72-hour notice, a resolution urging and supporting the implementation of overdose prevention sites. The reason that this was brought on the 72-hour notice is that it was brought to me by the Safer Inside Coalition in honor of the overdose awareness day that passed a few weeks ago. And so I'm hoping that we can also consider this item in honor of Overdose Awareness Day and add it to the agenda. So unless there are any comments or objections on either of these two additions. Yes, Member Lee.
Yeah, Chair Mahogany, I'm so sorry to do this again, but I texted you earlier. I'll need to table item 3, the minutes. I'm once again behind on them, so my apologies to everyone.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Sorry, I didn't get your text. So, and then also let's add to that tabling item number 3, the approval of the meeting minutes until the next DCCC meeting. Are there any objections or comments or concerns? Then I would like to make a motion to approve the agenda. Well, I'm sorry. I'd like to make a motion to amend the agenda with those 3 amendments. Do I have a second?
moved.
Thank you. All those, can we take that without
Second.
objection? Can we take that without objection? All right, thank you so much. The motion passes. Can we now approve the agenda as amended? Can we have a motion for that?
So moved.
Can we have a second?
Seconded.
Second.
Can we take that without objection? Without objection, the motion passes. Thank you very much. We will now move on to general public comment. This is item number 4 and is an important opportunity for the general public to engage with the members of the Democratic Party and speak on any of the items of interest on the agenda. I will turn this portion over to our Executive Director, Jackie Prager, to help facilitate this portion of the meeting. Thank you, Director Prager.
Thank you, Chair Mahogany. Normally, we do have an intern to help us with the timekeeping portion of that. Unfortunately, we do not have one this evening, so I believe Vice Chair Galata is going to be helping me with timekeeping. Great. So if you would like to make a public comment, please use the raise hand function. I will bring you onto the panelist side in the order that I see your hands raised. Each speaker will have 2 minutes to speak. And thank you for your patience. If you're entering this call via phone, please dial *9. And if you cannot find the raise hand function, please send an email to info@sfdemocrats.org and I'll be able to assist you. So the first name that I see up for public comment is Christine Pelosi. Christine, can you hear us?
I can hear you, just making sure now. See, my pronouns aren't on here. So hold on a second while I rename myself that I'm fully present. Okay. All righty. Thank you all for that. And here I am. Hi, it is so wonderful to be back with all of you. It was amazing to be in community just 9 days ago with Speaker Pelosi and so many members of Team Pelosi doing those phone banks. And I've come on for 2 reasons. One, to say thank you, because we really had an amazing summer of activism. I know Chair Mahogany, Vice Chair Galata, and Jackie, you were instrumental in making sure that the Sue Bierman, Nancy Pelosi interns well supervised by Susan Pfeiffer, as are we all. And we're making the calls that were necessary and doing the activism that was necessary to make sure that we had a resounding victory for our governor, Gavin Newsom. So I want to thank everybody for that. I want to thank the San Francisco Democratic Party for once again partnering with Speaker Pelosi to have the intern program and also to make sure that we are all doing our part to keep each other safe and also to keep California blue. Second, I wanted to just briefly mention, as a member of the Democratic National Committee, that one of my colleagues, the former chair, Terry McAuliffe, is in a very, very, very close race for Virginia governor against a self-funding millionaire who's going to put $75 million, he says, of his own money into it. Of course, we want to keep Virginia blue and also protect some of those congressional seats that many of you San Francisco Democrats have made democratic with your phone calls and texts. So I'm here tonight to ask you once again to pick up the phone, this time through the Virginia Turnout Project. A number of our friends from different groups are working in Virginia, but the McAuliffe for Governor campaign has asked us to work with the Virginia Turnout Project in order to make sure that we sign up for phone banks and text banks, and we will, at a safe and appropriate time, as soon as we get through the budget and the debt ceiling and all of the work that is going on in Washington, D.C., be able to come together again live at Manny's to do this work. But in the meantime, I have tweeted it. I'll put it in on the Facebook page and send it to you, Jackie and Peter, so people can sign up. And lastly, just a shout out to Chair Mahogany for your resolution about the Women's Health Protection Act, HR 3755. It will be voted on and it will pass the House of Representatives this Friday. So again, thanks everybody for all you do and what we'll continue to do together.
Thank you so much. Next up for public comment, I see Susan Pfeiffer. Susan, can you hear us?
Mute and let me do what Christine did to rename myself so I'm appropriate. And I was sitting here nodding. Hang on, let me get rid of this. As Christine was speaking, because she was saying I was like the ventriloquist. I was the dummy going, yeah, yeah. So thank you to everyone. It was a huge success, and it took Honey Mahogany and Peter Galata and Jackie Prager and Jason Park, and as Christine said, the Nancy Pelosi, Sue Bierman interns that kicked it off to take care of this. And it was a joy to work with this organization and do the phone banks, and then also work with SF Labor Coalition and SEIU to do canvassing. We did the whole thing in a short time, and it was hugely successful. And I think everybody really enjoyed it. So thank you again, because we won, and we won big. Christine also mentioned the Terry McAuliffe campaign, which I just learned a little about yesterday. He's going to be in San Francisco for a private fundraiser. It starts at $100 and goes up from there. It's at a private home in San Francisco, and anyone interested in attending, please let me know. I've been asked to help push the tickets for it, which is not my thing usually, but it's a chance to flip another state blue. The current governor is Republican. He's a decent guy, but he's a Republican, and this is a chance to flip this one blue. So, and that is it. Thank you.
Thank you. I see Wesley Saver. Wesley, can you hear us?
I can now. Thank you very much. Good evening, Chair and committee members. My name is Wesley Saver, and I am the policy manager for GLIDE. The organization's in strong support of the proposal to implement overdose prevention sites. So thank you for considering this item. GLIDE hosted the associated demonstration site, Safer Inside, in 2018. The number of people who have died from drug overdose in San Francisco has been rising at a staggering rate. And now the situation's worsened and the need for associated services has amplified. This loss of life is exceptionally high, but we cannot pretend that this is a surprise either. Overdose deaths are preventable and they're a policy choice. Overdose deaths will continue so long as we neglect, criminalize, and put up barriers to the most vulnerable among us, especially those who are at the intersection of homelessness and drug use. And we know this very intimately at Glide. So speaking from the perspective of our harm reduction team, the increased number of deaths last year was tragic. And this year it's even more overwhelming. It's intensifying, it's persistent. And this proposal represents a meaningful opportunity to help address the needs of individuals using drugs. The science behind the interventions is emphatic. They're extremely cost effective. So please, please, please endorse this resolution. Thank you.
Great. I see Michael Rupe next, followed by Anak Rama. Michael, can you hear us?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, thank you.
Hi, good evening, Chair Mahogany and San Francisco DCCC. Good to see all of you. I'm speaking tonight in favor of the discussion for consumption sites in San Francisco. As it's been stated repeatedly, we have had more overdose deaths than the number of people who have passed away from COVID last year. If this isn't a public health crisis, I don't know what is. This is an opportunity for San Francisco to take leadership. I know we've discussed this several years, but the city needs to declare a state of emergency, going back to our roots like we did in the early days of fighting AIDS. And when we supported needle exchange programs, we need to have the will and we need to have the leadership to enact a state of emergency to have safe consumption sites for people, because we are facing a crisis. And so I'll urge your support this evening, and thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. I see Anak Rama, followed by Jody Hicks. Anak, can you hear us?
I can, and I apologize. I have a weak internet signal, so I'm going to stay off the camera here, so I apologize. Hi, I'm Anaxel Rama, a home rise community organizer with the Treatment on Demand Coalition, speaking in support of the overdose resolution. Simply put, the only reason we don't have the tools to implement life-saving policy now is because we haven't had the political willpower to get it done. The DCCC needs to pass this resolution to give the political cover for the decision makers to do the right thing no matter the risk, because the status quo of doing nothing risks more lives, and those lives are lost daily. We cannot wait any longer in this overdose death crisis. It's actually not a health crisis, it's a death crisis, and our action or inaction is the difference between real people's and whole communities' health or death. We strongly support and urge the DCC in passing this resolution, the mayor declaring a health emergency, and immediate implementation of proven solution of overdose prevention sites to prevent death. Thank you.
Thank you. I see Jody Hicks, followed by Iowana Penna. And if you are an attendee and you would like to speak, a reminder for those who just joined, please use the raise hand function found at the bottom of your screen. Jody, can you hear us?
Hi. Thank you so much. I'm Jody Hicks, President and CEO of Planned Parenthood Affiliates of California. Just wanted to, first of all, thank you for allowing me to come on your meeting, and I know you're doing a lot of important work. I wanted to ask that the San Francisco Democratic County Central Committee, I believe there's a resolution to take a position on the Fairness for Injured Patient Act, asking for you to formally table that until we are able to give full presentation of our opposition. And I represent over 108 health clinics around California. We've always had an interest and will fully participate in conversations around injured patients and how we address this issue. But I think now more than ever, especially given what's happening in Texas and the way that we are sort of weaponizing private right of action and ability to sue health centers such as ours, we're really looking at what and how this would impact our health centers. And especially now more than ever, as we're grappling with how we're going to take care of patients, not just in California, but the folks coming into California, we need to look at this from a financial perspective, how we take care of patients in the right way possible. And I think there is a way to do that, but really need to look at this particular initiative and the financial impact it would have on our health centers, especially during this time. So just ask for some time for us to present some of that information before there's a vote. And thank you so much for taking that time for me today.
Thank you. Next is Ioana Penna, followed by Lydia Branston. Again, if you're here to make public comment, please use the raise hand function found at the bottom of your screen.
Sorry, that got a little tricky. Good evening, everyone. My name is Ioana Pena. Thank you for having me. I'm here speaking on behalf of the Alice B. Toklas LGBTQ Democratic Club, for which I'm policy co-chair, speaking in support of item 9, the resolution urging and supporting implementation of the overdose prevention sites. As a lot of folks who've called in have already mentioned, we know that this type of support would reduce public drug use while increasing public safety, which is incredibly important as we come out of a global pandemic and are seeing the effects and how folks are managing that in a variety of ways. We also have seen success on this in the international front. It's irrefutably been proven a low barrier model and a successful operation that has worked for decades in other countries, Canada and even Europe. This reduces, as someone mentioned before, possibility for infections, HIV, Hep C, and also significantly and successfully reduces drug-related overdose deaths. So again, just coming and speaking in support on behalf of the club. Alice has been a strong supporter of this issue, having worked in the early 2017 years with then President Breed to introduce the Safe Injection Site Task Force, and will continue to support the immediate implementation of these sites. Thank you, Chair Mahogany, for just elevating at this level and creating a public opportunity to speak on it.
Next, we have Lydia Branston, followed by Ruskell Kyangyang. Lydia, can you hear us?
Yes, sorry, that just took me a minute. Hello and good evening. Thank you so much for this opportunity for me to speak on my support of supervised consumption sites. I was a member of the original task force representing Safer Inside, which is a coalition of San Francisco community in the Tenderloin looking to support supervised consumption sites. I have worked in the social service arena with people who are using drugs and experiencing homelessness now for 15 years. And I can say wholeheartedly that this is a very necessary service for those of us who are working with people who use drugs and for the people who are using drugs, to be able to provide a safe place for us to communicate with them in a non-judgmental space, to be able to make contact and refer people to safer and better health choices, as well as preventing overdoses, which is the #1 priority. So I would just like to say again this evening, thank you so much, and please support this initiative. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Ruskell Kayang, followed by Zara Haji. Can you hear us?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, thank you.
Good evening, Chair and members. My name is Ruskell Kayang. I'm speaking on behalf of former State Assembly Member Mariko Yamada and our Save Our Seniors statewide network. First, we want to thank the Central Committee for supporting AB 279 months ago, which is a bill to protect our seniors in home care facilities from being evicted and transferred during this pandemic. The bill is currently on the governor's desk, and we're contacting fellow allied organizations to send a letter to the governor at ledge.unit@gov.ca.gov. We appreciate and encourage any letters of support for AB 279 to get it signed into law to protect our seniors. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Next is Zara Haji, followed by Mohammed Fakhreddine. Zara, can you hear us?
Hi, yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, perfect. Hi, everyone. My name is Zara Haji. My pronouns are she, her. I'm speaking in my capacities as a co-chair of the SWANA board, as well as the co-president of San Francisco Young Democrats. I'm here to speak on two things. First, the resolution in support of the resolution to welcome Afghan refugees into our community. I'm the daughter of immigrants, my dad fleeing to the United States as a war refugee, and my mom surpassing many hurdles to seek a better life in the United States for her and her family. I understand firsthand how the trajectory of my life could have changed drastically if my parents weren't given the opportunities that they fought for. And much of it was due to the local communities who not only accepted them, but embraced them and provided them the support that they needed. I urge the San Francisco Democratic Party to pass this resolution and embrace Afghan refugees in our community here in San Francisco, the same way my parents had that support years ago. I'm also here to speak in support of the resolution urging the implementation of safe consumption sites here in San Francisco. As someone who lost a dear friend to overdose, I think about what their life could have looked like if they had access to resources like safe consumption sites. I also think about the 404 lives we lost just this year in San Francisco to drug overdose. We have a strong solution in the form of overdose prevention sites and have the community will to make it happen. So I also urge the San Francisco Democratic Party to support the implementation of safe consumption sites to improve public safety, increase access to resources for those who are substance dependent, and for the betterment of our community at large. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next is Mohammed Fakhreddine, followed by Miriam Zazunas. Mohammed, can you hear us?
Yes. Hi. Thank you for giving us the chance to be heard. My name is Mohammed Fakhreddine, member of SWANA Democratic Party. I was joining just to thank you for considering the resolution in support of Afghan refugees and voicing my support for this resolution. I hope you pass this resolution in support of Afghan refugees. I think it's in line with our values of who we are, and the Afghan refugees will be, I think, a tremendous addition to our community. And these are people who stood by the United States. And so I look forward to welcoming them in our community. So please vote in support of this resolution. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Miriam Zazunas, followed by Paul Harkin. Again, if you're attending this meeting and you would like to make public comment on any of the resolutions or any of the items, please raise your hand. Miriam, can you hear us?
Hi, thank you so much. Thank you all for inviting public comment to this meeting. I wanted to first speak in support of the resolution supporting Afghan refugees, which means support in creating SWANA categories for demographic data collection for the city, knowing our community's needs and providing resources accordingly. And that means supporting community-based organizations and legal and business organizations that serve these communities. So we hope that we have your support in that as much as we need also infrastructure for our public health for our most vulnerable communities. So those are all things that our SWANA community stands for, and we wanted to thank you for having them on our agenda tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. The next person to give public comment is Paul Harkin, and then I see no other hands raised. Again, if you'd like to make public comment, please raise your hand or dial *9 if you're dialing in via phone. Paul, can you hear us? Paul, you have to unmute. Oh, there you go.
Hey, thank you so much for having this hearing tonight. Thank you, Honey Mahogany, for drafting the resolution. I've been working with people who use substances for about 22 years in San Francisco, and it shocks me that we're not even at the level where we have this intervention 22 years later. It's very bizarre because there's hundreds of them throughout the world. There has never been an overdose death ever in one of these facilities. And if that was all they did, that would be magnificent, because we would see that number of overdose deaths dropping. But not only did it do that, they help destigmatize substance use. They connect people with people who are compassionate caregivers. And generally speaking, people are about 6 times more likely to seek substance use treatment when they've used a safe consumption site. And the reason for that is because they're cared for by people who are not trying to coerce them into doing something that they're not ready to do yet. This is not abstinence or safe consumption. It's all part of the continuum. And people who are not ready or unable to quit using drugs, this is exactly what they need. So they stay safer, they don't die of an overdose, they don't get HIV, they don't get Hep C, and they're not on the streets. Creating problems for everybody else on the streets that is challenged by those kind of visuals. So I really hope that we can not have to wait for years for this to get through, and we just need to keep putting the pressure on. And I really appreciate it, and I hope you adopt this. Very important. Drug users are always put to the bottom of the queue, and it's time to start saving lives. 2 people dying a day is insane when there's an intervention that prevents it. So thank you for giving me a couple of minutes. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. And with that, I do not see any other hands raised for public comment.
All right, well, thank you, Director Prager. If we don't have any more public comment is now closed. So thank you to the members of the public who participated, and we will now move on to our next item, which is the officer reports, starting with the chair's report. I'd like to start my chair's report by saying, if I may, congratulate the governor on maintaining his seat as the governor of our great state, and equally congratulate all Democrats in California, all the volunteers, and specifically here in San Francisco, our volunteers and chartered clubs and our labor partners, all the elected officials and members of this body who really stepped up to the plate during a very hectic time to make sure that we defeated the Republican recall effort. So, thank you again to the Labor Council, to Alice B. Toklas Democratic Club, Harvey Milk Democratic Club, Latinx Young Dems, Latinx Dem Club, SWANA, SFYD, United Dem Club, Vernal, Eastern Neighborhoods, and all the other Democratic clubs who joined us for phone banking, organized their own efforts, and joined us doing door knocking. I also have to, of course, just say one more time, a huge thank you to the Labor Council, who organized lit drops and door knocks and was right there step by step with us in fighting back this Republican recall effort. I also want to give a shout out to Christine Pelosi, who helped us organize several phone banks, and Speaker Pelosi, who came and attended one of our phone banks and also cheered on our phone bankers at another phone bank and the entire Team Pelosi for just their tremendous support throughout this effort, including providing funding for our interns who worked so hard to organize all of this. And again, I feel like I say this every month, but a shout out to Jason Park, who, is near and dear to all of our hearts and really held things down and helped kick off this organizing effort. I want to do just a special recognition to Vice Chair Galata, who is our Vice Chair of Club of Partnerships. And really, it was Peter who was helping really organize and do a lot of the outreach around setting up those phone banks and creating those partnerships so that we could be successful in this work. So thank you, Peter, for all of your hard work. And I'm sure you'll do your own thank yous when it's time for you to present your report. But I really just wanted to highlight the incredible work that you have done. So thank you again. I would also, of course, like to thank again, and I know we've said these thank yous many times, but these are the people who are really doing the work every day, every night, when we really need people to step up. And I think it's important that they get the recognition that they deserve. So of course, Susan Pfeiffer, who really was the backbone of this effort, not just with the San Francisco Democratic Party, but across the state. So thank you, Susan, for your leadership and your friendship and all of your hard work. It obviously paid off. And once again, thank you to all the DCCC members who stepped up to host a phone bank. It did not go unnoticed. I think people really appreciated seeing members of this body that they elected participating and helping fight for fellow Democrats across the state. I also want to give a shout out to our mayor, Mayor Breed, who was really at the forefront of a lot of, she was very loud about her support for our governor, who showed up to, again, one of our phone banks and really helped raise awareness around this effort. And the last thank you that I will give, although there are many more, and hopefully Peter will help me cover my bases, will be to Manny, who, without Manny and Manny's, much of this wouldn't have been possible. Manny's was the place where we all came together to organize, where we came together in solidarity, and then at the end where we came together to celebrate. So thank you, Manny's, for the generosity of your space, for opening your doors to us when you were as a business closed, and just for being such a wonderful presence and force here in San Francisco. That has been the majority of the work that we have done over the last few months, though there is much more work to be done over these next few months moving forward as things sort of heat up around other recall efforts that may or may not make it onto the ballot. So please stay tuned, and I hope that everyone will be equally engaged in some of our local efforts as they were in the statewide efforts, because we know that how important all of this can be and how much of an impact it has on our everyday lives. So with that, I will conclude my chair report, and I will pass it on to our first vice chair, Leah Lacroix, to report on outreach.
Hi, good
Sorry, Leah. I just forgot. Did I give a shout out to Jackie? Jackie, did I shout you out? Jackie, you deserve a huge shout out because Jackie really was the woman behind much of the work that we were doing. And I am so sorry, Leah, for cutting you off, but I could not forget to give Jackie, who is our new ED, who's only been here a few months and sort of had to hop in there and just, really hit the ground running. So again, thank you to Jackie and for all of your work. And Leah, I'm so sorry to interrupt you, and please continue with your report for outreach.
No worries. I think making sure that Jackie gets the recognition she deserves is so important. So I'm happy to take a back seat for that. But I do want to echo Chair Mahogany's sentiments to all of the clubs and organizations and volunteers who were so active in our fight to stop this Republican-led recall. We were so successful. So again, thank you so much, and big congratulations to California and to Governor Newsom as well. And major thank yous to Christine Pelosi, to Susan Pfeiffer, and our very own Vice Chair Galata. And Jackie as well. You guys were just so active and so wonderful. I had the opportunity to, sorry, I'm still on camera because I'm off camera because I have bad internet connection. So sorry about that. But I had the opportunity to join a few phone banks, and I just wanted to just recognize how much of a well-oiled machine everyone was. Like, as soon as you come into the door, you were assigned in, you got your name badge and you got your instructions, and you were set up within minutes. And at Manny's, there was snacks for folks who were coming in after work too. And so it was just a really wonderful experience. You just felt everyone kind of coming together for this bigger opportunity. And so I just wanted to kind of share a little bit from what it was like in the field at one of our phone banks. But apart from that, a lot of what I would want to mention or call on will be included in other people's reports. So I will just keep mine nice and short and tight so that everyone else can probably express what they were working on a lot more clear. So thank you again, everyone, for your time. And yeah, that concludes my report.
Thank you so much, Vice Chair Lacroix. We will now move on to voter registration, and Vice Chair Baraka, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Chair Mahogany. Can you hear me okay? Good. The Voter Registration Committee met on September 7th. We had the full committee meet. That's Member Tung. We also had our Executive Director, Jackie Prager, and Susan Pfeiffer all attended on the 7th. We met for a little over an hour to discuss future voter registration events. We discussed having our lit drop, voter registration lit drop, on the second Sunday of each month. So that would be starting in October. We figured we'd give folks a break in September since everybody was so involved with the recall effort. But that's October 10, November 14, December 12, January 9, February 13th, and March 13th. And we talked about each of us reaching out to individual clubs to help sponsor one of those dates. I happened to be at Milk last night, so I actually made an announcement about that. So please, if you could, remember the second Sunday starting in October, we're going to have voter registration lit drops. We're also going to talk more about also bringing back some traditional voter registration efforts like tabling at farmers market or even doing roving voter registration, which I found to be really successful when we did that at the Women's March. So that's a lot of fun too. And the voter registration committee will be working hard to make this happen, and we'll definitely keep you informed on how things are going. And hopefully we can get participation from everyone on this very fundamental task of our party. That is all.
Thank you so much, Vice Chair Baraka. We will now go, there are no new clubs being chartered this month, so we will skip club chartering, and we will now go on to issues and resolutions with Vice Chair Levitt. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Chair Mahogany. I want to echo what everyone has said about the victory in terms of the defeat of this recall that cost the state $270 million. I don't want to imagine that alternate universe where we would have had a governor be installed with a very tiny percentage of the voters electing that person in the state of California. I am happy that we are continue on course, but that also means that we continue the fight. So I appreciate the speakers who have really brought some critical issues. I think what we are dealing with worldwide with refugees, and also what we are dealing with immigration reform here in this country, greatly deserves our attention. So I just wanted to give a quick shout out and actually provide an update from one of our former SFDCCC members, and that's Sarah Souza. And she's part of this California delegation in Washington, D.C. There have been 5,000 people marching on Washington to ask Congress to make real steps toward immigration reform. And just briefly, the big push from Democrats has been to do that through the big $3.5 billion social safety net spending bill. And because it's, as you know, from the sausage making, because it would be part of this budget process, it wouldn't be subject to a filibuster. And we know from years of the political dynamics how things get hung up in terms of any meaningful action and reform from Democrats. So unfortunately, on Sunday, the Senate parliamentarian ruled against having this immigration reform, which is very significant, be part of this, reconciliation package. And the activists are not giving up. So I want to give a shout out to Sarah, to the huge California delegation that is there, and just acknowledge that work. And it's not just years-long work. It takes decades, because we are trying to right injustices. We are trying to really address a lot of socioeconomic issues that are at the root of the inequality in this country. And I appreciate the hard work. It doesn't stop. It might be 2 steps forward, 1 step back, but the work continues. So thank you. And I'll hand this back to Chair Mahoney.
Thank you, Vice Chair Lovett. We will now go to Vice Chair Galata for partnerships.
Thank you, Chair Mahogany. Good evening, members. And I just want to add to and echo all of the appreciation and thanks that has already been shared and said, but it really cannot be said enough. And congratulations. And it's hard to believe that election was just last week. It feels like we wrapped that one up, and we are moving on and we are moving forward, but it still feels really good. That might have been the shortest election night party that I ever attended, because as soon as those results came in, we were like, it's game over. It's game over. So we did it. We turned the tide in this election. I mean, we all remember a month before the election that the polling was not looking great, right? And so we all kind of rose to the occasion. We doubled down. We did the turnout, and it was overwhelming. I mean, the San Francisco numbers, the state numbers for a special election like this, in the middle of September, it really showed the power of our organizing, the power of our coalitions, and also that the Democratic Party is strong in California. And that is due to the work that the party has been doing up and down the state, and that we are doing representing San Francisco. So I just think there's a lot to take away from this. We've also had a lot of practice, I would just say, over these past 2 years. We have sharpened, our organizing. We are not taking any election for granted, and that also really shows. And so there's just more for us to build on from here. And I do want to there's too many people to thank, and I know I will leave people out. I really just want to emphasize the coalition that really came together around this election. The California Democratic Party, I do really want to acknowledge just their leadership, and the leadership of Vice Chair Campos as well, and the organizing directors, the entire team and staff for really helping direct us at the county committee level to get engaged early and taking this seriously, and investing a lot of resources and partnering closely with the Newsom campaign. Swing Left San Francisco, Democracy Action, these are organizations that are just bread and butter of phone banking and doing voter engagement, and doing it so very well, and literally held phone banks almost every day over the past month. The San Francisco Labor Council, as was mentioned, rolled up sleeves. Kim Tavaglione really did so much. And I want to just thank Kim specifically for her partnership and working with us on our canvassing, and all of the labor unions that turned out. NUHW, Local 87, Local 21, SEIU 10-1. There's too many to name, but just thank you to labor. All of the Democratic clubs as well. Honey mentioned a number of them. It was an amazing, just the number of clubs that stepped up and made this a priority and turned out your members. Team Pelosi, of course, and for their consistent partnership and support. And of course, Manny's as well. We had a home base over the past month. It felt like we had moved into Manny's because we were there so much. In fact, we had keys at one point because we were literally there almost every day. And just thank you to Manny and his entire team for giving us a space where we could gather. And it was great to actually be able to phone bank in person again and see so many people. And that's really what this came down to. It was the people. And I do want to just acknowledge some more individuals. I mean, and Honey mentioned this, the elected leadership that really came together around this, I think was extraordinary. The Speaker Pelosi. Also want to shout out our Lieutenant Governor, Eleni Kounalakis, who is also a member of this body, who came and phone banked with us, who was with us on election night, and really did so much. Our entire state delegation, Senator Wiener, Assembly Members Ting and Chu, Mayor Breed, our district attorney, Chesa Boudin, supervisors, so many of the board of supervisors. Also, Joaquin Torres, shout out, our assessor recorder, came and phone banked multiple weekends with us. And of course, our own Democratic County Central Committee leadership, Chair Mahogany, thank you for all that you did and for leading us and showing up and helping us get the word out and get people engaged. So thank you. And also just all of the unsung heroes, phone bank captains. We had so many folks who just showed up, too many names to mention, but these are the folks that help make those events look like a well-oiled machine. All of the volunteers that came out and dialed and made calls, thank you. And of course, just my dream team, Susan Pfeiffer, Jackie, just chef's kiss, thank you. For all of the late night texts, all of the showing up, the work, the organizing, and just such a pleasure and honor to work with you on this. So just thank you, everybody. And on to the next. Christine mentioned the Virginia Turnout Voter Project. We're going to be, now looking at gearing up and getting ready for these other races. And of course, we have the midterms coming up on next year. So a lot of work we can continue to build on, and just thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Vice Chair Galata. Member Campos?
Thank you, Chair Mahogany. I just wanted to just take a moment as the Vice Chair of the State Democratic Party to just reiterate the things that were given by Peter Galata. Thank you, Chair Mahogany, for your leadership, and to your our amazing executive director who did a lot of work in a very short period of time. Peter mentioned the incredible work of Manny's. It was really recall central, and the state did a lot of work, not only phone banking and canvassing, but we really needed a base in San Francisco, and Manny's was that base. But I wanted to just take this opportunity, besides highlighting the amazing people like Susan Pfeiffer and others, to acknowledge the work that Vice Chair Galata has done. I know that as Vice Chair of the state party, I feel like campaigning against the recall was almost like a second job. But I know that everywhere I went, Peter Galata was there in San Francisco, and I don't think that people fully appreciated how much time he has put into this effort. So if it's possible to give someone a standing ovation on Zoom, I just want to do that because he really deserves it. Peter, thank you so much. No one did more work than you did on this recall. And I just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Member Campos. Member Avalos?
I was just raving Peter, so I'll put my hand down.
Okay, thank you. Seeing no other hands, we will move on in our agenda. We will now move on to our treasurer, Member Morales. Is Member Morales here, or Annabelle, are you, Member Ibanez, are you going to give the report on her behalf?
She asked me to give the report on her behalf, if that's okay.
Thank you. Thank you, Director Prager.
Thank you. So a short update, in our federal cash on hand, we have $14,464.97. In our state cash on hand, we have $5,385.78. So there's our financial report. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Director Prager. Would any of the committees like to report, or do any of the committees have a report that they would like to present at this time? Member Thomas.
Thank you, Chair Mahogany. Good evening, everyone. The Finance Committee has been meeting now on a weekly basis. We meet every Tuesday at 6 p.m. If you're interested in joining us, we'd love to have you. I want to thank members LaCroix, Galata, Morales, and Chair Mahogany and Kathleen McDonough for attending the meetings and working to try and prepare events for fundraising. Some of the work we've done so far include, we were originally planning a fall fundraiser and had to make an audible due to scheduling. So we now can confirm that we're going to be having an early December holiday party. The tentative date is December 1st, and it will be a drag show theme at Oasis, hosted by the one and only chair of the San Francisco DCCC. So please mark your calendars for December 1st. The fundraising goal for that would be $20,000 net after expenses. And then we have pushed the more traditional fundraising event that we were looking at for November that we talked about last month to early 2022. The goal for that is $30,000 net. And we're targeting hopefully late January, early February on that. And we're still in the process of confirming the guest of honor for that one. So we'll try to get some more information as that fall comes out. But please, and if you're interested for the holiday party, we are looking for volunteer members from this DCCC who are interested in possibly getting dressed up for the drag show. And we would love to have folks who are donating to the DCCC be able to donate with their dollars to help decide perhaps which folks they want to see perform at the fundraiser. So we want enthusiastic volunteers from our DCCC who are willing to kind of participate and have a little fun this December. So please let us know if there's any hands now, eager participants, let us know. We're very excited about this, and we can't wait to see a few of our DCCC members in full regalia, singing and dancing on December 1st. Some other stuff beyond fundraising events, as you heard from the dollar amounts in our accounts, we're also looking at call time, and there's a lot of possible elections and things going on over the next year as we go into midterms that we're going to need to really bolster our funds. So call time is going to be a big part of it. The committee created a call time tracker for some of our members that have volunteered to shoulder that burden so that we can track what they've committed to and do some accountability on that. And additionally, hats off to Jackie Prager, who's been working with me to try and schedule regular call time days so that we can kind of set that regularity of getting folks together to do that. So I want to appreciate it. And then of course, the biggest burden for call time always falls on the chair. So I want to thank Chair Mahogany for shouldering the majority of that call time for fundraising. The last thing is our small dollar donor campaign. As the chair mentioned last month, all but I think like 4 of us are regular donors to the DCCC. So if you're one of those 4, you probably know it by now. We'd really love for you to join the rest of us. And then we've started exploring other avenues for small dollar donors, including reaching out to alumni and clubs and things like that. And eventually the committee decided to explore a more data-driven approach for small dollar donors. So the executive director, Prager, and I are going to try to do some initial calls to find out what the sort of expected return and some of the financials on that are. And hopefully we'll have something more to report out of the committee next month. And that's it for the fundraising committee report.
Thank you so much, Member Thomas, for all your work on that. I know you have really been really key in organizing all of us and getting us together and holding us accountable to do some fundraising. So really appreciate all your work. And thank you to all the members of the committee, and just reiterating that if folks want to join and help us raise some money, it would be much appreciated. Or even if you just want to have fun and do a little drag number at our drag show, we will have some professional performing drag queens there as well. Perhaps we can get some also to help volunteer and help you get ready. Just seeing member Barry's comment there in the chat. All right, well, we will now have a report from our very own executive director, Jackie Prager.
Thank you. Yeah, congratulations to everyone. We beat the recall. That was a big lift, but it was nice to see so many of you at our phone banks. A huge thank you to our volunteers and our captains like Peter and Chair Mahogany mentioned, especially those who came multiple times a week to help us train. That was very appreciated. Thank you to everyone who took a window sign. I still have a few buttons left over if anyone would like them. But in the meantime, for the upcoming month, my goals are to focus on voter registration. We have some elections coming up and some recalls that we're facing. So getting voters registered is top priority. And I'll be working very closely with Member Thomas to make sure that we have the most fun and most successful fundraisers end of the year and beginning of next year. So with that, I will yield my time to, I believe, Director Kelly, if she's here.
Is CDP Region 6 Director Kelly here? I don't think she is. So maybe we can skip that report for this meeting and we can move.
Chair Mahogany, before we move forward, I just want to let folks know that the CDP we're having the next e-board meeting in November. All the committees will be meeting there. So I'm pretty sure Henny would have mentioned that, but I just want to flag it for everybody because there's a lot of holidays and things. Mark your calendars to at least have a Zoom attendance for that if you plan on attending on the November e-board meeting.
Thank you so much, Member Thomas, appreciated. We will now move on to item number 6, which is a resolution in support of Afghan refugees introduced by Member Barry. Can we have a motion to consider this item, please?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second, Member Ibanez.
Thank you, Member Ibanez. Member Barry, the floor is yours to introduce this item.
Thank you, Chair Mahogany. Thank you, members. We all know what's going on in Afghanistan. We know the people that are coming here, and I wanted to get on board with other central committees in the Bay Area that have written a resolution in support of welcoming the people from Afghanistan that are either on their way or already here. I like to give a shout out to San Mateo County Central Committee, Alameda Central Committee, and Sunnyvale Central Committee. They've all passed similar resolutions. Most of the language borrowed for this resolution was authored by Alexander Melendrez. So thank you to him. I honestly feel that I cannot introduce this resolution with justice, and I brought someone who has boots on the ground to speak with the permission through the chair that she's coordinated with us along with the executive director. Jackie, thank you. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Harris Mohad Dedi. He is a member of the Afghan Coalition and the California Democratic Party Asian Pacific Islander Caucus Northern Chair and Rules Committee member. So is Harris here so he can introduce this resolution?
Thank you. Yes, I am. Thank you, Member Barry. Chair Mahogany, fellow Democrats, my name is Harris Mojadidi. I'm a community organizer and a member of the Afghan American community. The past 5 weeks have been a living hell for me, my family, and my community. We sit in desperation. I know for me, I have family members that are high at risk who I tried desperately with everything in my life to get out of Afghanistan, and I failed. And I have to sit now on one side of the world while I don't know what their fates are. I have girl cousins who in the past 20 years had access to education, who have bachelor's degrees, who have master's degree. I had to witness them burn their degrees, destroy their diplomas. And I have little girl cousins who can't go back to school now. It's been awful, but also at the same time, at that same awful and difficulty that my community has experienced for the first time in my entire
But that map that I sent you earlier.
For the first time in my life, I finally feel like my community is being humanized. We have been violated in so many ways throughout 40 years of conflict, and the world has consistently turned its eyes. And so for the first time, I finally feel like people see us, people see what we have been through, people see what we're enduring. And so I ask, as a member of this community, to this body, to please consider passing this resolution to show commitment to the incoming arrivals, refugees which share our values as Americans, who have uplifted and protected our armed service members, who have taught at American institutions. And on that note, I also want to add that white supremacy tells us that we need to divide and that there are lives that matter and lives that don't. And as I'm here suffering and pain, I also want to uplift my Haitian brothers and sisters who also have that dignity, who are being stopped in our southern border, and uplift them, because every person, no matter where they are, has that dignity, has that humanity. And so with that, I want to thank you, Chair Mahogany, Member Berry, and this body for inviting me and allowing me to speak tonight, to speak for my community, to speak for our needs. And my hope is that this body adopts this resolution. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and I'll turn it over to the chair.
Thank you, Member Berry. I just wanted to say thank you again for your leadership in bringing this resolution to our body. I know that many of us on this body are actually either immigrants ourselves or the children of immigrants. I myself am the child of East African refugees who fled their country due to political turmoil, and I know that I have benefited from policies that have allowed them to immigrate to the United States, my aunts and uncles, my cousins, who all came to this country looking to build a better life. So I think it's only right that we continue doing everything that we can to bring in people who are fleeing not just political persecution, but are fleeing for their lives and the lives of their children, their daughters, and the ability to practice their faith, regardless of what it is. So I am in full support of this resolution and happy to be a co-sponsor. And I hope that my fellow committee members will join us in supporting it today. With that, I see Mr. Perkins has his hand up.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Congresswoman Spear's office has been involved in trying to move Afghan refugees into the United States. It's been extremely difficult. We've had only one success of a family out of dozens of families that have contacted us for assistance. And at the same time, we're getting calls, unfortunately, from people in our community who are, as was referenced, not welcoming. And sometimes they say very hateful things. So it's very important for us to take a stand and to make sure that America is open at this moment. We asked a lot of these folks to join us, and they did. They created a society in which women had, a fair measure of equality and dignity, and now that's being swept away before our eyes. That's something that's of deepest concern to Congresswoman Spear, particularly the advocates for women's rights. They're on their target list almost automatically. And it's time for America to allow folks to come, to settle in, and hopefully we can be the beacon that we're supposed to be for people who are otherwise going to face, their murder because of their circumstances. So thank you for bringing the resolution to the committee.
Thank you. I see Member Thomas has his hand raised.
Thank you, Chair. I just, in light of what Brian Perkins' comments and the enormous number of co-sponsors I'm seeing in the chat, I was wondering if we could adopt this by acclamation. I'd be happy to make that motion.
That's a motion?
Yeah, move to call the question by acclamation.
Awesome. Do we have a second? Thank
I
you.
second it. Member Brown.
Thank you. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
All those opposed? Any abstentions? The resolution passes unanimously. Congratulations, and thank you again for bringing this forward. We will now move on to item number 9, a resolution urging and supporting implementation. Oh, I'm sorry, I skipped over item 8, resolution upholding reproductive rights. I am the co-sponsor of this resolution along with member Barry. May we have a motion to hear this item?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Thank you. Colleagues, as we know, earlier this month, the governor of Texas signed Senate Bill 8 into law, which basically undermined Roe v. Wade and looked to block access to abortions for those seeking an abortion after 6 weeks of pregnancy, which we know is barely enough time to even know that you're pregnant, let alone consider all of your options. So they've effectively blocked women in Texas from accessing abortion, and then also made it a crime for people to aid in providing those abortions, including people like Lyft drivers, including healthcare clinics. And unfortunately, the Supreme Court failed in their duty to uphold precedent and deem that law unconstitutional. And so we are now in a situation where we are setting a very dangerous precedent in rolling back the rights of people to have ownership over their own bodies. That's women, that's all birthing people. And I am afraid that this is a slippery slope and people are just testing the water, and that that there are far scarier things to come across our nation. And so I think it's really important that we go on record taking a stand specifically against the erosion of reproductive rights, of access to vital health care, and that we urge our federal representatives to do all that they can to, in fact, pass laws on a federal level that will finally protect the right to accessing healthcare, to accessing the right to an abortion and having ownership over one's own body. That is why I have brought forward this resolution, and I hope I will have the support of this body. Member Barry.
Thank you so much, Chair Mahogany. I co-sponsored this resolution because I know when I was younger, I used to always hear people say you don't want to make abortion illegal because of back alley abortions and whatnot. And people make it like it's such a foreign thing. However, I want to let this body know that I've had a back alley abortion, and it is something you do not want any girl to have to go through. It is horrific, absolutely horrific and dangerous. So thank you again, and thank you.
Thank you, Member Barry, for sharing that with us and for your leadership and for co-sponsoring this resolution. Mr. McCoy.
As this directs congressional action, the speaker will be abstaining from this item. However, and Christine sort of already stole my thunder, Representative Chu's Women's Health Protection Act will be heard in the House on Friday. Immediately after this happened, the speaker vowed to legislate this, and so that's what's happening. And thank you all for your support, and thank you as well to our California delegation and the House of Representatives for their support.
Thank you, Mr. McCoy, and please thank the speaker for her quick action on that. Seeing no other hands, can we have a motion to approve the resolution?
So moved.
Second.
Or to call the question.
You have a second? I heard a second from Member Barry. All those in, can we do this by acclamation?
Yes.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
All those opposed? Any abstaining?
Pelosi.
The motion passes. Thank you so much, colleagues, for your support. We will now move on to item number 9. This is a resolution urging and supporting implementation of overdose prevention sites. I am the sponsor of this item. Thank you, colleagues, again, for allowing me to amend our agenda to include this item. I think it is very timely. I have gotten emotional about this several times today for a variety of reasons, but I think that we all have stories of people in our lives that have suffered with substance use, people that we have known who have passed away from an overdose, people that maybe we don't know, but we have seen and witnessed suffering on our streets. I think these are all, this is an all too familiar sight for many of us. And it is a growing epidemic. We can see that things are getting worse. In the United States, last year, there were more than 93,000 people who died from a drug overdose. That's the largest number of drug overdose deaths over a 12-month period ever recorded. And then last year in San Francisco, we also had, just in San Francisco, we had 719 overdose deaths, setting a record for our city. And that is in comparison to the 257 COVID-related deaths that we had that year. And unfortunately, so far in 2021, we've had over 400 overdose deaths, putting us on track to meet or exceed the number of deaths we had from overdoses last year. So we are arguably in a crisis. We are in a synthetic opioids and fentanyl crisis, and we need to take drastic measures. We know that harm reduction is effective, and we know that one of the methods in which we have seen success across the country and in other countries is in overdose prevention sites. I know that this is a topic that has been discussed at the board, that has been proposed at the board, that the mayor has also shown interest in. And this resolution is supporting those notions, supporting our mayor in finally taking action and establishing an overdose prevention site here in the city of San Francisco. I want to give one of our advocates here in the city, one of our largest advocates for overdose prevention sites and for harm reduction, Laura Thomas, the chance to speak to this item. But I will also just note before she speaks that this is supported by several of our chartered clubs, including the United Democratic Club, SF Latinx Young Democrats, Eastern Neighborhoods Democratic Club, SF the Latinx Democratic Club, the Harvey Milk Democratic Club, San Francisco Young Democrats, and as we heard earlier today from Iowena, the Alice B. Toklas LGBTQ Democratic Club. So it has broad support in our party, and I hope that we will be able to provide further support here at the San Francisco Democratic County Central Committee. So if we have Laura Thomas available, yes, I see she's a panelist now. I'd love to turn it over to you. Thank you so much for your leadership in all of this.
Sure, and thank you. There are so many members of this group who've done so much over the years to try to move this forward. But I particularly want to thank Gary McCoy for all of his aggressive advocacy over the last, over years, but in particular over the last couple of months, including his hunger strike to draw more attention to this. So yeah, as Chair Mahogany said, this resolution encourages and supports the mayor in taking action. We know we have a different federal administration in place at this point. It's unclear what their reaction is going to be, but it's time to take action in the best tradition of San Francisco progressive, bold leadership and move this forward. The state bill, SB 57 by Senator Wiener, unfortunately got stalled and will come back up until next year. Even if it gets signed by the governor, it won't go into effect until January 1st of 2023. And we can't wait. There are 2 San Franciscans a day are dying of accidental overdose, and we can't wait that long to take action. So, from the community, we are hoping that the mayor will take action, that the city will take action, and allow organizations like the San Francisco AIDS Foundation, where I work, to move forward and operate these services. So I'm happy to answer questions if there are any questions about the specifics of what supervised consumption services is, but I know that many of you have previously weighed in on this and supported this for years, many of you. So thank you for the opportunity to bring this here.
Thank you, Ms. Thomas. I see Member Campos would like to add comment.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. And I just take this opportunity to thank you for bringing this forward. And I especially want to thank Laura Thomas for her advocacy. She has been trying to push this issue for quite some time. And I have to say that, you know, I hope people that may not fully understand how this works will take the time to understand and really connect with Laura. You know, it was in 2015 that she and I traveled to Vancouver to see firsthand how these safe injection consumption sites work. And it was from that experience that I first introduced that proposal in 2015. And at the time, by the way, there was no city in the country that had done it here in the US. Philadelphia was thinking of doing it, and I was really hopeful that we in San Francisco would be the first. And unfortunately, that time has passed. But to be honest, 6 years is just way too late. And as Chair Mahogany and Laura have said, you know, 2 people in San Francisco are dying each day. And I think that this is one of those things where
It looks like we may have lost our member Oh, you're there. Are you muted?
yeah, sorry. We need some political courage and just push the envelope. And I don't know that we should wait until 2023 to open this in San Francisco. And just if we push the envelope with same-sex marriage and other areas, I think this is one area where our elected officials need to push the envelope at the board and the mayor. And so that's the hope that I have, that this can be done this year before the end of the year.
Thank you so much, Member Campos, for your leadership on this. Colleagues, are there any others who would like to comment on this item? Seeing none, we had an earlier, Member Chen.
Thank you, Chair Mahogany. I think for this item, I plan to abstain just because I want to do more research on it. But I personally do support this, and I worked through my job in the library. I worked to try to get what was it called? I'm blanking out on the name right now, but it's the drug that can reverse an overdose.
Naloxone.
Is it? I'm not sure if it's that or not. But we were getting I was on the team to help try to get training for staff to be comfortable with getting those shots. So I personally do support this, but I want to do more research, so that's why I would be abstaining.
All right, thank you for your comments, Member Chen. Mr. Wright?
Thank you, Chair Mahogany. On behalf of Member Marr, I just wanted to express his strong support for this resolution and gratitude for bringing it forward. On a personal note, I also just wanted to echo the gratitude both to Gary McCoy and to Laura Thomas, my predecessor as a president of Harvey Milk Club, who really made building consensus around this issue a priority for the Milk Club through many years of leadership. And it should not take one more death to see a safe consumption site opened. All it should take is political courage. So thank you again for the many years of work fighting for this, and thank you, Chair Mahoney, for bringing this resolution forward.
Thank you, Mr. Wright. Member Thomas.
I just wanted to call the question.
All right. Do we have a second?
Second.
Williams. Thank you, Member Williams. We had a request earlier to do a roll call vote, so I will turn it over to our recording secretary, Member Lee.
Yep, hold on a second. Okay, cool. Member Avlos.
Absolutely, yes.
Member Braca.
Yes.
Member Barrett. Member Campos.
Yes.
Member Chen.
Abstain.
Member Dufty.
Yes.
Member Galata.
Yes.
Member Haney.
Yes.
Member Ibanez.
Absolutely.
Member Kim.
Yes.
Member Lacroix.
Yes.
Member Lee, yes. Member Loftus is excused. Member Lovett.
Yes.
Member Mahogany, Chair Mahogany.
Yes.
Member Mar.
Yes.
Member Maliga.
Yes.
Member Morales, that's you.
Yes.
Thank you. Member Raju.
Yes.
Member Thomas.
Yes.
Member Tong.
Yes.
Member Williams.
Yes.
Member Feinstein.
Abstain.
Member Pelosi.
Yes.
Member Spear. Yes, thank you. Member Ma.
Yes.
Member Cohen.
Yes.
Member Weiner.
Yes.
Member Chu.
Yes.
Member Ting. I think that was a yes from Nima. Or sorry, from wait, is it Member Ting's proxy here? Sorry. Okay. Either way, this passes unanimously with 2 abstentions from Member Chen and Member Feinstein. So congratulations and thank you so much for being here, Laura.
Thank you all.
Thank you again. And thank you, colleagues, for your support on this measure. That concludes, that is our last resolution. We now are moving on to item number 10, which is new business. Colleagues, does anyone have new business that they would like to bring forward at this time?
Hi, yes, Leah speaking. So I am sure that you guys are all well caught up in the news, and so I was just wanting to put before this body whether or not we would be interested in making a statement on the treatment of the Haitian migrants at our border. I know that it's one of those issues that are still kind of moving and evolving over time. But I would like to see if we would be interested in making a statement, whether on our website and our social media channels on this issue. Sorry, I just also want to add that as someone whose family is from the Caribbean as well, I think it hits a little bit closer to home, and and so it's seeing just the images on the news. It's been a lot, and so couldn't get together a resolution in time for this meeting, but wanted to see if we can put out a statement. Thanks.
Thank you, Vice Chair Lacroix. I personally would really appreciate us working together on a resolution. Sorry, there seems to be an echo tonight. But I am in full support of that idea and look forward to working with other members of the DCCC on this. Member Campos.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you to Vice Chair Lacroix. That's exactly what I wanted to ask. I think that we should work on a resolution, and I'm happy to work with Member Lacroix, whoever else on that. But in the meantime, I do think I would ask that perhaps the executive committee or the chair could work on a statement. I think it's really important for us to say something, and I want to say this, that if this was happening under Donald Trump's administration, would be up in arms, crying foul, and the fact that it's happening under a Democratic administration makes it even worse from my perspective, because this is not who we are as Democrats. This is not why we fought to take back the White House. We really expect more and better, of a Democratic president. And I think it's important for the Democratic Party to call it out. And so I think a resolution makes sense next month, but I think that speaking out as much as we can and as quickly as we can is important.
Thank you very much, Member Campos. I definitely agree. Member Ibanez.
I definitely want to echo that sentiment. I think it's really important for us to put a statement, including a resolution on this issue. It's something that should have not been happening at all. It's completely wrong. And yes, if it was under the Trump administration, we would have been marching. And so let's do what it needs to be done to ensure that this does not happen again. So thank you.
Seeing no other comments, is there any, Member Thomas?
I just echoing what everybody else said, I'd be happy to work on a resolution and any other sort of work we're doing between meetings. Member Lacroix, happy to help out.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for your support, Member Thomas. Seeing no other hand, I'm sorry, Member Avalos, I see your hand.
Yeah, I put in the chat, like, what if we actually organize a press conference with leaders from the Haitian community officially as the Democratic County Central Committee and bringing in, maybe elected officials, but to stand in solidarity with the community and to call out this great injustice.
I support that idea. Thank you for bringing that forward.
I could be available to help with that.
Thank you. Do any others have thoughts on this on a press conference? Are members in agreement that that would be a good idea? Great. Seeing no objections, we'll go ahead and move forward with that, with crafting a statement and organizing a press conference. Thank you, Member Avalos. Any other new business colleagues? Member Thomas?
Yes, I just wanted to note that we had 2 unions go out on strike, maybe more, but I just have in my notes too. Stationary Engineers 39 went on strike at all Kaiser locations in about a week or so ago. And I'm sure many of you saw also that Local 2 concession workers at Oracle Park also went on strike there due to a number of issues, including inadequate COVID protections. So I want to note that and let folks know that I'll be working on resolutions for both of those going forward. If you're interested in being involved, let me know.
Thank you very much, Member Thomas. Any other new business colleagues? All right, seeing none, it is now time to adjourn. Before we adjourn, are there any in memoriams that folks would like to offer?
I would like to close the meeting in memory of Yolanda Lopez, Chicana artist and longtime resident of the Mission District, who paved the road. Especially, she was like this feminist and big famous artist. And yeah, I would like to close in her memory.
Thank you very much. Are there any other in memoriams?
Yes, I would like to add also Gail Packwood Seagraves. I met her through the election cycles, just like probably most of us. And honey, you might be able to speak better to her. She's in your district. However, she was just such a hero and such a hard worker. And I just really loved her. So thank you. And honey, I hope you can say something more.
Sure. No, of course, yes. Thank you for bringing up Gail Seagraves. She was someone in our community who was very well known in District 6, but really in many progressive circles for her activism. She led so many of the fights in the Tenderloin, whether it be for getting more access to 24-hour bathrooms, for safer streets, for housing rights, all of these things, and advocating for step-up housing and building more step-up housing. She was really at the forefront. We were also lucky enough in the District 6 office to have her as a volunteer, and she was absolutely incredible. And I think that, really indispensable for many of our interns who were working at the front desk. She always knew the answer. She knew who to connect people to. And she did everything with a huge smile on her face and with such joy. She was one of those people who is a true light, who brings so much love and energy with her wherever she goes, and people just feel immediately better just having her there with them. And so it was a tremendous loss to our community to lose Gail and to no longer get to see her beautiful, fabulous, effervescent self, and a tremendous loss, I think, to Democrats here in San Francisco. I know that many other people here also worked with Gail, and so if anyone else wants to offer any remarks, please feel free to do so. Okay, well, in the memory of Gail and also Gail Seagraves, and also in memory of Yolanda Lopez, we will adjourn this meeting. Thank you, colleagues.
Thank you. Good night.